Hey everyone, Brick City Brown Chick coming at you with another episode. I am off news topics for this week. I just can't talk about them. The level of stupidity and ridiculousness right now is more than I can deal with. So, since my birthday is next week, I thought I'd tell an amusing story from my childhood that comes from the summer of when I turned 10 years old. Now, the first thing to understand is that my mom was very determined for me as her only child and as her daughter to have the things that she never had. She's the oldest of 10 children. My father was, I think, 10 or 12 of 14 children. So they both came from these huge families. And they got together and had me, and they were done. So my mom really did push me to do things, most of which I didn't really want to do. But I didn't understand as a child that she was trying to live life over through me, that she wanted me to do and have all the things she couldn't do and couldn't have because my grandparents were sharecroppers and they had 10 children and they were very poor. So she wanted me to play the piano. I never had any interest in playing the piano. She went out and bought a used piano and then got really upset with me because I refused to take piano lessons. Now, don't get it twisted. I am the black child of two black parents, and I have a very strong, opinionated black mother. And I did not say no to her or reject her ideas or suggestions, as she called them, very often. I was very much a pick your battles kind of kid. I learned that from my dad. My dad said to me when I was probably 7 or 8, listen, you can't fight with your mother about everything. You got to pick your battles. So piano was a battle that I just was not going to lose. Later on in my teens, when she decided she wanted me to go to charm school, yeah, that was a thing in the 80s, charm school, I agreed to go. I went. I learned how to walk with a book on my head. I learned what fork to use for what part of the meal, all that crazy nonsense that women in the 50s and 60s did. I graduated from charm school. I did that. I drew the line at the debutante ball. She wanted me to be in the big Jack and Jill ball in New York, which is a debutante ball for children of black professionals. And thankfully, I had my father on my side on that one because even in the 80s, that was going to cost like $10,000. And my dad was like, I am not spending $10,000 come out to polite society. This is insane. It's going in her college fund. So that was the end of that, thankfully. But I didn't fight with my mother often. Most of the time, my philosophy was listen, just go along to get along. I got my first brassiere at age 8.5 because, yeah, I had to. They were coming in and there was no stopping them. So I had been wearing a bra unhappily for a year and a half. None of my friends did. Nobody I knew my age had to wear a bra, but I did. So that already put me in a bad mood about it. And my parents sent me to summer camp every summer. There used to be something called CYO camp, which stood for Catholic Youth Organization Camp. So it's run by the Catholic Church. So for 6 weeks of summer, I get on a bus and we go out to the middle of nowhere in New Jersey and do crafts and perform skits and all the things kids used to do at summer camp. I liked summer camp. I had a really good time. But the year I was 10, all of a sudden now I had these, let's call them impediments to progress for all the things I did at camp. I was taking swimming lessons. Swimming was something my mother wanted me to learn to do because she was terrified of water. We'd sometimes go on these beach vacations to Myrtle Beach or Martha's Vineyard or wherever, and my father would like basically carry my mother out into the water, and she had floaties and a float and everything, and she would just freak the heck out. Still, she couldn't stand it. So she wanted to make sure that I did not have the fear of water that she did. So that was the summer I was really learning to swim. I had learned, the dead man's float and kicking with a kickboard and all that stuff. But this was the summer I was going to get serious and really learn to swim. So when we went to the store before camp started and bought my bathing suit, she made sure she bought a suit that had a built-in bra. Now, I don't know why I did not make the connection as a 10-year-old that the bathing suit already had a bra in it, but somehow I didn't. And I would wear my actual bra into the pool with the bathing suit. So the bathing suit was like a halter top. So the tie went around the back of my neck, but you could still see these bright white stripes from my regular bra under the bathing suit. This isn't a conversation I had with my mother about it. It's just what I did. All right, flash forward. We're now like a month into camp, and it's Parents' Day. It's the day your parents drive up to this camp in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the day, and see your artwork, and you perform your skits or your dance or whatever's been going on, and your parents get to see what you've been doing all summer and what you've done with their money. So I was part of the swim club that was going to perform for the parents. So out I come strutting in my bathing suit, wearing my bra, and did my whole routine with my campmates, and everything was great. And after it was over, we high-fived each other. It was a good time. Of course, my mother pulls me to the side, like drags me away from my friends and says, "Why in the world are you wearing your bra?" And I looked at her and said, "What do you mean? Like, I wear this. This is my life now." And she's like, "Your swimsuit has a bra built in it." And I said, "Yeah, I know, but the nipples still show. So I wore the bra for extra protection." And she was like, "Have you been doing this all summer?" And I was like, "Yeah, every time I go in the pool." She just stared at me. She was so horrified to come to the realization that her child had taken her literally about making sure you cover up and wear your bra. And she said, "Okay, I understand you've been doing this all summer, but this is not how you handle this. If your nipples are showing, the way to deal with that is to cover them with Band-Aids." And I was like, "What?" Because I was 10. I was like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "If they're still showing through your swimsuit, just put Band-Aids over them and don't wear your bra, and it'll all be fine." So that's what I did from then on, and that worked perfectly fine. But it was just one of those really hysterical moments that I look back on because till this day, I can still see the look of shock and horror on her face at realizing I have spent the last 4 weeks wearing a bra in the pool with my bathing suit. Now, why she didn't pick up on the fact that not only did the bathing suit smell like chlorine when she washed it, but so did the bras, I have no idea. But I guess it never occurred to her that I would do that. So that is just one of those stories I look back on and laugh really hysterically at. One of the times I decided to just go along with what my mother wanted and followed her instructions, and it sort of backfired and left her feeling really embarrassed. And I'm sure thinking, this kid is some kind of revenge for something I did to my parents when I was young, because she is just a piece of work. And that sort of sums up our relationship in a nutshell. Her going, okay, I need you to do X, Y, and Z, and I do X, Y, and Z, and somehow I got X or Y or Z wrong. And most of the time, all she could do was just stare at me in amazement. So that's the story I wanted to tell this week. I hope everyone is having a good summer and a good week, and I'll see you again next time. Bye bye.